Hi everyone, I'm a business development analyst with Perfectly Posh. Today we're going to talk about an Excel tool that I created for people to use in their business to make better business decisions and to set realistic goals for themselves and their team members. So basically, before we get started, I did want to talk about a few things. One, there's going to be certain limitations to this Excel sheet. It's just meant to be a tool to help you make good decisions for yourself and your team. It's not meant to be a guarantee by Perfectly Posh or myself or the BDA department that if you reach a certain number of people in your company or your team that you'll rank advanced. It is meant to be kind of a forecasting tool to based off of past performance of giving you realistic expectations for how many people you'll need both in your team and in your company. This is also meant to illustrate certain business principles or business points that help me analyze who we should be working with and why. It is meant to give you a more broad spectrum view of your team and company, where they're doing, what they are doing, and where you would like them to be in the near future. As far as having Excel questions and that kind of stuff, I'm not here to answer those kinds of questions, software questions, that kind of stuff. But if you have specific questions regarding business principles, regarding this spreadsheet specifically, I'm happy to help you if you need help. So definitely keep that in mind. So moving forward, we are going to talk about the downline. So this is fake data. These numbers aren't based on anyone in the company. All of these IDs are fake. All of these names are just first names. These email addresses are fake, phone number, address, etc. It's all fake data. So that being said, there's only certain data that you need for this spreadsheet to be able to calculate. Anything in red, which includes email, phone number, street address, and birth date, we don't need for this analysis. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our cursor, and once it turns into a little pointer, an arrow pointing down, that means that you can select the whole column, click and drag across, and then right click on column F or E or whatever, it really doesn't matter, and then right click on it, press delete, and that'll delete those three columns. We're going to go over to the birth date and do the same thing. So this is the data that we're going to need. This specifically is already represented in the tool that I've built, so you're not going to need to copy and paste that over. You can highlight this whole thing a few different ways. You can do Control Shift and then right arrow and then down arrow, or you can click and drag the whole thing. Totally up to you how you would like to do that. We're going to come over here. Anything in blue has formulas, and anything in orange is stuff that you can enter data into and that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind. You might mess with formulas not meaning to, and unfortunately, if you do mess with the formulas, chances are you might not realize it, and it'll be calculating stuff that you think is really what it is, but it isn't, if that makes any sense. So I copied and pasted all of that stuff into this downline an analyst tool. Excuse me. You're not going to have to do this in your Excel, most likely. I do it just to save myself time so I don't have to keep waiting for it to calculate. You go to the Formulas tab, and then I have it on manual right now. Yours will most likely be on automatic. If you have it on manual, what that means is every time you do like a specific formula, you're going to have to do calculate now. So right now, Excel is calculating all of those formulas for me. See how all of these numbers changed? That's how I know that I was successful in calculating what I needed to calculate. So moving all the way to the left-hand side, I wanted to give you as much information as easily as possible and as consistent as we could make it. So I wanted to break down your ranks and where people are in your company. So right now I have 1 silver premier, 6 pink plus 3s, 2 pink plus 2s, 15 pink plus 1s, 60 pink, and 207 proteges. It also bases that off of a percent of your total downline. And then it breaks down how many, on average, qualified frontline each group has. So if I had like 12 silver premiers, their average would be 5. I have 15 pink plus ones. They have an average of 0. So this is meant, these are fake numbers. Excuse me. The downline report is fake numbers. So just keep in mind that when you put your actual downline into this Excel sheet, it's going to calculate it and be way more consistent data and data that fits the ranks. But since I just created all of this fake data, it's not going to be a perfect representation of what Perfectly Posh is as a whole. Hope that made sense. So that's what this does, is it's breaking down where you have your cluster of people and in what rank. These are KPIs, which is just a fancy way of saying these are some stuff that you should really be paying attention to in your business. Qualified frontline is 1. You have 231 that are qualified frontline, which means that they're doing $200 or more in personal sales. There's 157 people paid on their team, which means that they're making $500 or more in PV, which is 54% of your company. You had 291 recruits as of this month, which is amazing. But like I said, it's fake data, so keep that in mind. And there weren't any people that earned the monthly award. This specified criteria is something that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. I'm going to just continue with this batch and kind of work from right, and then I'll come back down here and explain this section as well. So this is the earning tiers. I thought it would be a good idea to kind of break down what your earning tiers are. So between $0 and $25, you have 10 people within that area. Between $25 and $50, you have 4 people in that area. Between $75 and $100, you have 6 people in that area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you get down to $1,001, which means that anyone that earned $1,001 or above is calculated in that. So that's a breakdown not only in the quantity of people that you have, but also as a percentage of your company. 22 and 8% here, 30% that are above $900 is amazing. But like I said, this is fake data. So orange are things that you can kind of mess with. So let's say that I'm running an incentive period where I want to find people that are making $500 or more in PV with 2 recruits. And I'm going to just hit this calculate now. Again, you're not going to have to do that most likely because it'll be automatic for you. Keep in mind that this right here is telling you how long it's taking to calculate each of these. So it just means that Excel is in the process of calculating what you're asking it to calculate. So this right here is the criteria which we specified here. So I'm going to go to only the true, and this is going to kind of calculate again. Sometimes it goes to not responding, but 9 times out of 10, it'll come back. It's just taking a little bit to think about what you need it to do. So right now, I'll just keep explaining while that's in the process of thinking. So you can do several different things. So if I wanted to find a person that's doing $500 or more in PV as a leader with 2 recruits, and then has an average PV per person excluding themselves of $80, I could plug it into this area right here. Team size, I could say, oh, give me people that have 20 or more people in their team. I can also do how many qualified frontline they have in their team, number of frontline months they've been with Perfectly Posh, and average dollar amount for their frontline. So I've been working with several silver, gold, and platinum premiers over the last 3 or 4 months since I've started with Posh, and these are a few of the ones that seem to be consistent for when they are running incentive periods of how many recruits the team has, or that kind of stuff. This recruit number is specific to whose downline it is. or excuse me, let me backtrack. Not of whose downline it is. If, for example, Brandy, she's a true situation of this criteria right here. So I'm going to go to Brandy's numbers, and based on this criteria, she should be doing $500 or more in PV with two or more recruits. She's doing $893 in PV with two recruits. So she met that criteria. Let's just say for the heck of it, I'm going to make that one instead. And you're going to see this go from true to Brandy not showing up there anymore when I hit recalculate. I'm going to have to unsort. But Brandy was the first person when we sorted that. It's going to probably go to that not responding thing, but it'll come back, so just bear with me. So I'm going to put it back to true, and the first person in this list should be Brandy. Excuse me, I forgot to ask it to calculate. So right here is where it's in the process of calculating for me. So it finished calculating. Brandy doesn't meet this criteria anymore, so she is false in that situation. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this. Instead of having to fish for every single person, it'll just readily go about the calculation for you. As I had mentioned before, the formulas themselves aren't something that you should really be messing with, and I'll show you why. So I'm clicking on cell N24, row 24, column N, and so that's N24. I'm clicking on that right now, and this is the formula that I had to figure out in order for it to do what I wanted it to do based on this criteria. So, if you put something in there that didn't belong, it might miscalculate or not calculate at all. So just be very wary of not messing with stuff in blue. Anything in orange is stuff that you can mess with if you would like. Anything in blue, make sure to not touch. So that is the basics of that. This is a really awesome tool as well. So as you know, you're going to need a certain amount of people both in your team and or company with each rank advancement. The difference between a team and a company isn't relevant until you hit Premier. So we'll just talk about Brandy being a pink, what she needs to do. So we're going to go over here. She has a team of one. She has $893 in PV and $893 in team, with $893 in company and $8,768 in lifetime PV, with 0 qualified frontline because she's a team of one. So Brandy specifically, and she joined back 7/14 of 2012. And her parent ID is that. So we're going to go over here. So she's averaging $893 per person. So team average PV, that's what that's saying. Now let's say that instead of having just one person on her team, which is her, let's say that she has two people on her team. So that 893 will go down because we're going to do the team. So we're going to put 2 right there. And so it won't be 893 anymore. It'll be half of 893. So I'm going to go ahead and click out of that, calculate now. It's calculating right here. So 6% done, 75% done, 85% done, etc. Now it's finished. So I'm going to go back over here, and you can see that the team average is now $446.50. So that is just calculating, it's taking the team volume divided by the team size. This is taking the company volume divided by the company size. This is calculating how many total frontline people she's recruited, an average amount of frontline that like are working. Keep in mind, like I said, that these are fake numbers, so they're not going to be perfectly tied out in the logic, but the business principles that I'm trying to show you are definitely true. She joined back in 7/14 of 2012, and what this is doing right over here is it's saying how many months she's been with Perfectly Posh. And what that's doing is it's breaking down how many months based on a 30-day, 30.42 days per month, since there are 365 days in a year. So that's that logic. Then I take the lifetime PV, which is lifetime PV divided by the amount of months that they've been with Perfectly Posh. So since she joined Perfectly Posh, she's averaged $334.66 per month. Keep in mind, one kind of weakness of this formula is a simple fact that, you might have one person that does, $3,000 or $4,000 in 1 month, and then 1,000 the next month, and then nothing for a year. So keep in mind that that's one limitation of this life PV. Then I go on to this part right here. So in order for Brandy to rank advance to the next level, based on her company average of $893, she's going to need roughly about between 2 and 20 people on her team to rank advance. So here's the thing. Right here is where we're telling this formula of how much money we're planning on. Now, you're going to have some people in your downline that are doing a ton. Like let's say you have a team of 10, they're doing $5,000 in team revenue, which is awesome. That's $500 a person. That means they're all being paid on their downline. So that's a very strong team. However, that's not likely to continue the larger they get. So you might want to build in a buffer. So if I'm saying, $500 per person, I might want to build in a 50% buffer, and a 50% buffer is according to their team value right now. So a 50% buffer of that would take it down to $223.25 per person. And that's what that average is talking about. And the company, let's say that I want to do $200. So that's anywhere between $200 to $223 per person on average in PV. So based on those numbers, I'm then going to have my Excel sheet calculate the team and company, the company size in order for her to rank advance to ping +1. So I'm going to go back to calculate now, which again, you shouldn't have to do because it should be automatic on your Excel sheet. So based on those numbers, she's going to need between 4 to 10 people to reach the next rank advancement based on anywhere between $200 and $223 per person. So that's what that means. It also breaks down when their 15, 30, 60, and 90-day props deadline is. So what I did is I took their the date that they joined, added 15 days, added 30 days to the original, 60 days to the original, and 90 days to the original. So that breaks down who's doing what and that kind of stuff, which can be really helpful. There's also the award, the monthly award, and if this number is greater than 0, it means that they met the qualifications in order to earn the monthly award. Another thing that I would like to talk about is frontline. So what this is it's literally saying that they counted all of the parent IDs and are saying that Brandy recruited 2 people total, and that she doesn't have, of which, based on right over here of the QFC, 0 of the 2 people she's recruited are qualified frontline. I hope that made sense to everyone. This right here is counting the amounts of the frequency of this criteria being met. So if I'm saying $500 or more in PV with 2 recruits, that's saying that 41 people of my downline, which is 14% of my downline, are hitting that criteria. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do with this in order to figure out different things, people to work with, where your company is at, where you need to work on, where you're strong in, etc. So that pretty much finishes up this spreadsheet specifically. I'm just going to go ahead and save this, and I'm actually going to talk about one more tool that I built within this spreadsheet itself. So I understand that in the original system that we used to have, we had this email button where we could just email a team or a company, and I understand that we don't have that at this point. And so I wanted to build something that you could use and it wouldn't take you a ton of time. So beforehand, well, not beforehand, excuse me. Now people have to copy and paste individual emails at a time and paste it into the to field in their email address. That can take a long time if you're doing 300 or 400 people. So that being said, I'm just going to go down to this downline. These are fake email addresses. I'm just going to copy, let's say that this is my team, 292 people. That would take a really long time to do. So I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet and I'm just going to copy and paste these email addresses as values. And then I'm going to hit calculate. It's calculating right here. This is the email string and the correct format for you to be able to just copy and paste this whole thing in your to field without having to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. So it's going to save you a lot of time. Keep in mind there are certain internet and email providers that will count you as spam if you're emailing more than 20 people in one email. So if you need to do 20 emails at a time, definitely feel free to do that. I believe the limit that I put on this is a few thousand email addresses, so you shouldn't run into a problem of not being able to use this tool. And yeah, I hope that's helpful. I hope you guys can use it. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and your diligence and patience with all of us. We admire you ladies and think you're just great. Keep up the great work, and I will catch you later. Thanks. Bye.